On the show is Walter E. Williams, distinguished economist at George Mason University and syndicated columnist. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good to talk to you again.
Well, great to talk to you.
All right, great piece that I read at townhall.com, Okay to Feel Sorry. And you talk about how at one time in our nation's history, blacks could not feel sorry for whites. That was shocking. And you point to To Kill a Mockingbird and the novel about a black man who was accused of rape. And one of the questions he was asked, I guess, in the court was, why did you do so much work for this woman who he was accused of raping? And, you know, you had your own work to do, and why'd you help her? And he said, well, I felt sorry for her. And that elicited, gasps of shock. And now you bring it to the present day, and it was just a very interesting column.
Well, I thought I'd just have a little fun.
Yeah.
And I point out that it's okay for me now to feel sorry for white people or guilty white people or white liberals. And I was pointing out that maybe it's less of a need for me to feel sorry because of the response they had to Dennis Rodman. And it's been the criticism, and I think has been somewhat of a catharsis to many people because they just and I point out in the column that even Senator John McCain, who couldn't say he didn't allow anybody when he was running for the presidency to speak ill of
Reverend Wright,
President Obama's racist minister Jeremiah Wright.
Right.
But he even had courage to criticize Rodman, and a matter of fact, he said, "I think he's an idiot."
So what is right? Yeah, and actually, yeah, a dangerous idiot is what he said on this show. Actually, before he went on Piers Morgan that night. So let me ask you this: So what is this show? I mean, what does this show to you? The ability of people like McCain to be willing to criticize, a Dennis Rodman.
Well, it shows. Well, maybe he's getting. Maybe some white people are getting some courage to be able to say something. To criticize black people when they do something that's barbaric or absolutely wrong. But however, I point out some cases where there was not a whole lot of criticism of Congressman Henry Johnson from Georgia. During a Armed Service Committee hearing, he was worried about whether too many troops on Guam
would sink the island.
Cause the island to tip over and capsize.
That is amazing. And
there's a video, there's a YouTube of that, and it shows that the admiral, Admiral Willard, he replied to Johnson that we don't anticipate that, and without cracking a smile, I think that if I were an admiral, I might say, well, gee, Congressman, that's impossible. That's just plain nonsense. But I guess he wanted some money from the. Right. He wanted the hearing to be successful.
Right. And again, you point that out because, of course, the admiral was white and Johnson black. And then you go on to Sheila Jackson Lee, who's kind of a gift that keeps on giving. And she had a bunch of them. One, she talked about, she asked NASA scientists if they could move the Mars rover and the camera, I guess, to where Neil Armstrong put the flag on Mars.
You're right. And it turned out that Armstrong, really planted the flag on the moon. But however, that did not make the 6 o'clock news.
Right, and that's your point. That and Johnson and some other gaffes, which we'll get to, from Sheila Jackson Lee, that you're pointing in putting them in the piece, showed that there was a very limited response by the media when it came to criticizing them.
And that's right. And I think that that maybe white reporters they don't want to lose their job. They don't want to be called racist by criticizing a black. And this is, matter of fact, I have a website. It's walterewilliams.com.
Yep.
And on my website there's a gift. It's up in the right-hand corner, and it's a proclamation. It's from Walter Williams, and it's my gift. It's a proclamation of amnesty and pardon that I have granted to all Americans of European ancestry, for both their own grievances and those of the forebears against my people. And I grant this amnesty and pardon so they stop feeling guilty and stop acting like damn fools.
We're talking to Walter E. Williams here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Just to basically briefly go over, Jackson Lee also pointed out today we have two Vietnams side by side, North and South, exchanging and working. We may not agree with all that North Vietnam is doing, but their lip is a continent, not a country. But you're right. Hey, look, Walter.
And President Obama said it has also referred to people from countries like Europe.
I was going to go. Right, that was my next words out of my mouth. We only have to look to President Obama, not only for what you just said, but I mean, if you want to go to sports, the guy is the biggest sports fan, the biggest Chicago White Sox fan in the world, and it would be like me saying, I'm going to go watch the Yankees at Yankee Park. He called it on an interview with Bob Costas, the old Kaminsky Field. First of all, there's no N in it. He made it Jewish, and he called it Field. So it shows Miami Heats. Corpsman, yep. I mean, 57 states. Give her a breathalyzer if she can't breathe. I mean, the hits just keep on coming.
Well, yeah, and anybody who wants to keep his job should not make fun of the president because he'll be condemned as a racist.
Right. Well, that brings us to an interesting and by the way, you finished by saying you point out what they did to Dan Quayle because of one misspelling. I can't spell.
And it was potato. And he spelled it with an O-E at the end.
Right.
And actually, I found out that it can be spelled either way.
Well, don't tell. They'll never come up with that. But you're right. The bottom line is I'm glad the day has come when I can freely feel sorry for whites who have to bite their tongue when it comes to criticism of blacks. Let me take this to a different step here. A lot of people have said that, if Hillary gets the nomination, the same accusations will fly and the same code will permeate the media and be applied to conservatives. If they dare to criticize Hillary, they'll be sexists.
Or it'll be a war on women.
Yes. Well, this war on women, it's interesting. First of all, Huckabee was so correct. He said nothing wrong. He said what he believed the Democrats thought of women. And, of course, right away, the media is misrepresenting the whole thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Obama brings it up and misrepresents it in his State of the Union tomorrow.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised either. And I think that Americans need to grow up, not to fall for these tricks played by the left and modifying our language, and so that we cannot criticize anyone unless you are racist or you start a war on women. For example, with the new chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank, as soon as somebody criticizes her,
right,
it's going to be a war on women and possibly a war on people of diminutive stature.
And by the way, she's a chairperson. She made that clear. She did not want to be sworn in as a chairman or chairwoman. She's a chairperson. So.
Firstly, from 1995 to 2001, one of my colleagues referred to me as the chair. and I told them, and it was a meeting. I told them, look, I am a chairman, and I have empirical evidence to prove it.
Good for you. That's great. I do want to ask you about this. Rand Paul brought this up, and I'm not to pat myself on the back, but I have been saying since the conventions last year, when the media portrayed the Republican convention as a convention full of rapists, hate women because of the comments of one ridiculous congressman. Who apologized, by the way. And then they go, and in the Democratic convention, they bow down to their messiah, Bill Clinton, who was the keynote speaker, who had been accused of rape, accused of sexual assault, accused of taking out his private part, right on down, and had the affair with Monica Lewinsky, was disbarred for lying under oath, and he was their god. I mean, if anybody conducted a war on women, it was Bill Clinton. So Rand Paul, over the weekend, brought that up. And I am so thrilled that he did. I just hope Republicans have the gumption to keep it going.
Well, I don't know whether they have the guts and the gumption to keep it going. But I think one thing that somebody ought to do is that if you look at all the horror in America, the crime, the people in jail, the rapists and the murders, I would bet that most of them are Democrats.
That's probably true. If they have any,
if you go to our prisons,
if they have any affiliation whatsoever, they might just be. So, what do you think, sir, as an economist? tomorrow, I mean, you'll be bitterly disappointed. It's going to be minimum wage. It's probably going to be income inequality. Same, populist nonsense without any solutions. And here we are into year number 6.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And, I think it's very unbecoming of the president to have said last week or the week before that one of the reasons why he's having so much difficulty, or he's gone down the polls, is because a lot of white people don't like black people, don't like the idea of a black president. I mean, that is really going very, very low.
Yeah, they voted for him twice, and then all of a sudden, they become racists?
That's right. And I just hope for the future of our country and the well-being of our country that he does not bring up that kind of crap tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, I look for him to scold Congress. I look for him maybe even to scold the Supreme Court. I look for him to scold just about everybody, and he'll hold up his pen. Yeah, and he'll say, "I'll do it myself."
And a lot of people will say, "Oh, the Congress is against the president." Well, people seem to forget Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill. And Tip O'Neill used to tell Reagan that stuff was dead on arrival.
Yeah, and that flies, and Walter, that flies in the face of this myth. I haven't read the book, but when he was doing his interviews, that's all he talked about. This myth that Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan used to go across the street and have a beer. The Reagan's people said it never, ever, ever happened. Anyway, hey, Walter, always a pleasure to speak to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Take care. Walter E. Williams, ladies and gentlemen. WalterEWilliams.com is the website. Check it out and see the free gift. See, when Walter E. Williams provides a gift, we're not paying for it. Barack Obama gave a gift to Michelle, and we paid for it. Very nice of the president to have left her in Hawaii. Hey, I'm giving gifts of tuition discounts, as I say almost every day. I'm giving gifts of tuition discounts to illegals in New Jersey. That's how big-hearted I am, because my governor, Chris Christie, found the money. That's right. He was never against giving illegals in-state discounted tuition. He just said we never had the money before. So what are you to draw from that? Well, we have the money now. I don't know where he found it, but that's how he decided to spend it if he found it. Wonderful, lovely. But don't ever call me non-charitable. I'm paying for the discounted tuition of illegals. That's right. Steve Malzberg, coughing up the bucks. Don't ever forget that. All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to be joined by Rich Noyes, research director at and senior editor at newsbusters.org. You want proof of a biased media? You want proof of a media that they live and breathe democratic politics? It's here. We'll bring it to you right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I can't move my arm. On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.